Ahí está.
To overlook the smallest creatures is to miss the gears that keep nature turning. Bees pollinate, beetles clean, and even the smallest insects carries the weight of the world. And I want people to not fear the animals that live around us because those are the animals that really impact our own environment mostly. Now, one animal in particular is the dragonfly. This is a type of insect that is very helpful to have around and it shouldn't really be feared. I really want to speak on their life cycle, a brief description of what they actually look like, and then their role in the aquatic ecosystem, and a couple fun facts. Now, a question is, what does dragonfly even look like? How does a dragonfly even become? Here, we have a dragonfly. It's a pretty small model, but you can clearly see there are 6 legs, and each leg has 3 different segments. The tibia, the femur, the tarsi, and the claws. And they use these legs to move around and to capture their animals, their prey. And that is according to Animal Corner. And they have a long tail-like abdomen that's made up of different segments. And then on their thorax, you can see 2 pairs of translucent wings. These wings are very special. They are actually independent from one another. So if this wing wants to go up, this wing can also go up or down or any direction it wants. Now, the most prominent feature of the dragonfly itself are the eyes. They have 2 compound eyes, which are composed of ommatidia, 24,000 ommatidia to be exact. Now, what is an ommatidia? It's kind of like a very tiny eye. And in adults, they are very beautifully colored. They come in very vibrant colors. Many come in blues, greens, yellows, or reds. Not really black like this model here. The larvae, however, are typically a brownish color. And these larvae hatch from eggs that the adult dragonfly has laid in the water. And then the larva will actually spend up to from 2 to 6 years. That's a long time just in the water, hunting also other larvae, other fish, and even mosquito larvae. And then finally, they will crawl out of the water and molt one last time. And then the new adult dragonfly will spend from a couple weeks to a month just eating, reproducing, and being out in the world. Now, what do they eat? And why are dragonflies so important? When an adult dragonfly finally takes flight, which is actually, they have to, once they come out of the water, they spend a couple hours pumping their wings full of blood until they can finally complete flight. And that comes from Ontario parks. These dragonflies hunt in midair. They go fly around and capture their prey out of the air, and then they use their legs to bring up the prey to feed with their mandibles. They are very similar to hawks, in fact. Many call them the hawks of the insect world. Now, Pupke has said that this feat is only possible because of their extraordinary vision and their flight ability. This is what makes them such a good form of pest control. They control insect populations from becoming too large and destroying crops. Dragonflies also prevent disease-carrying insects. When they feed on insects that carry diseases, being able to regulate those causes them to not be able to reproduce, and then no diseases will come from those insects. They also very much thrive off of larger mosquitoes, and if they are a very good form of pest control. Now, a sudden decrease in population is an indicative of a problem in the food chain or the aquatic system. Since dragonflies spend most of their time in the water, it is very vital that the water they live in is healthy. Any sort of form of water pollution or habitat loss will impact these dragonfly populations. Now, a couple ways to encourage dragonflies in your local area are to plant native flora This will provide shelter and food for the dragonfly, and also adding any form of shallow water like a bird bath or a pond, which will allow them to lay eggs and reproduce. And also, reducing pesticide use is vital to allow for a safer environment for dragonflies, according to Ontario Parks. And if that hasn't convinced you yet on why you should admire dragonflies, here's some pretty cool facts about them. They appeared roughly 300 million years ago. That's a pretty long time. And they weren't as small as these models might show. Actually, prehistoric dragonflies came with a wingspan of up to 2 feet. Now, it's more 5 inches. Dragonflies can fly in any direction. They can fly forwards, backwards, up, down. And what's interesting is the way they fly backwards, they turn vertically, and then these wings will kind of figure 8 and then fly like this. This has actually caused them to be a muse for many scientists who work in aerial robotics. Knowing how the wings can move allow these robots to fly backwards and fly as efficiently as as dragonflies. Now, dragonflies actually have 5 eyes, 2 of which are the compound eyes, which I've already explained. And then the other 3 are called ocelli. Ocelli actually contain ospins, and ospins are what allow us to see RGB light. However, we only have 3 ospins, while dragonflies have anywhere from 11 to 30 ospins, according to Zielinski and Crankin. They also say that there was a study in 2013 where they caught up to 95% of their prey. This really shows how much of a great hunters they are. In comparison to other predatory animals like hawks or owls, who only caught up to 23%, this is a huge gap in those numbers. In summary, dragonflies are flying insects with a beneficial purpose in our ecosystem. They hunt down mosquitoes and other pests, keeping their populations in check. They're beautifully colored and spend the most of their time in the water until they finally crawl out and fly. It is crucial to keep the environment healthy to encourage dragonfly populations. They are marvelous creatures and help us much more than you may think. So next time you see a dragonfly, instead of running away or being scared, just take some time, admire it, and let it help you